the need to implement the decisions of the United Nations, particularly with regard to the ceasefire, and to allow free access of aid to the Gaza.
Et renforcer la capacité du gouvernement palestinien d'assumer ses responsabilités dans la bande de Gaza. Nous affirmons notre soutien aux Conseil
support to the outcome of the international community regarding the settlement of the Palestinian cause. We also support the implementation of the two-state solution in such a way as to allow the Palestinian people to exercise their legitimate rights, including self-determination, and to also give concretization to their sovereignty on the borders of 1967 with its eastern Jerusalem to be its capital in accordance with the United Nations decisions and the Arab Peace Initiative. We are confident that this summit will consolidate solidarity with the state of Qatar and effort. Wassalamu alaikum.
I give the floor to Ahmed Abul Ghait, the Secretary General of the League of Arab States. Your Royal Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of Qatar, Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, heads of states, heads of government, ladies and gentlemen. The Israeli crime assaulting the state of Qatar has crossed all lines and violated each and every humanitarian or legal principle. Please, negotiating teams, barbaric belligerence was worse, covered by false pretext. It is an unprecedented level of thuggery and violation of established principles and norms with impunity. Mr. Chair, allow me to address certain bullet points. First, assaulting peaceful, unsuspecting civilians, namely negotiating team, is not an act of courage. It is an act of malice, cowardice. It is a living proof of moral failure, unmatched and unprecedented in international relations. Second, this summit is convened not only to express solidarity with Qatar, which is a duty of each and every Arab and Muslim free man who rose against this cowardly, treacherous act by Israel. This summit sends out a message to the international community. The message says, enough silence to the acts of thuggery by this rogue state, which has been wreaking havoc, destruction, killing, and starvation within the region. Its leaders, for their exposed political gains or sick philosophies, are willing to plunge the region into a state of lynch law. Second, silence to criminality is per se a crime. Silence to violation of the international law undermines the international system. Silence to the barbaric genocide killing unfolding in Gaza has caused the leaders of the Israeli occupation forces that each and every act is possible and any crime can go unpunished. That's why they continue to spread destruction from one country to another, ignite the entire region as if the entire world has plunged back into the ages of darkness and barbarism, which we thought had gone by for centuries. This government is led by a person wanted by the International Criminal Court. By their acts, he himself added yet another crime. That's why we call upon the advocates of the international law to intensify their efforts to continue to prosecute the criminals of the Israeli government and the crimes they continue to commit under false pretext without any grounds in any law or international norm. Finally, Mr. Chair, allow me to address the Israeli population. What your government is doing in your name cannot be forgotten. Crimes cannot be forgotten. Killing 63,000 people and starving the entire population in Gaza cannot be forgotten. And the recent assault, an act of belligerence on a peaceful sovereign state that has been acting as a mediator with an effort to put an end to the war and have the Israeli captives released, cannot be forgotten. What the Israeli government is doing in your name undermines any possible likelihood of peaceful coexistence in the region. Yet it would usher the region into a dark future where malice, hatred, and conflict would be prevalent. It is a rogue government. The draft agenda and the draft statement is presented for adoption. Due to absence of any remarks, the agenda and the timetable have been endorsed and adopted. Now we give the floor to the heads of delegations. We'll start by His Excellency Mohammed Shia Sudani, the Prime Minister of Iraq and the sitting President of the League of Arab States. In the name of God, the Omnipotent and Merciful, Your Royal Highness, the Emir of Qatar, Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, may God's peace and blessings be with you. I stand before you today expressing Iraq's official and popular position, reiterating our commitment to the collective responsibility to stand up to the recent developments within the region and what took place in Doha, the capital city of the brotherly state of Qatar, in a belligerent act that targeted a meeting which aimed at bringing the bloodshed in Gaza to an end and provide protection to the civilians. This assault represents an unprecedented and grave escalation, an utter violation of the international law and sanctity of diplomacy. It also undermines all efforts aiming at diffusing the crisis. And amid the efforts exerted by the state of Qatar in their mediation, it is a negative message which threatens at birth any attempt to reach an amicable, peaceful settlement. The Israeli government, with their impunity, continues to undermine the international law and UN Charter, which represents a direct threat to global peace and security. It is also a deliberate attempt to widen the circle of conflict within the region and pose threats to our respective countries. to the degree that they have spoken outly and openly about changing the international borders in an unprecedented act that violates all the international laws and also undermines all the rules and principles of sovereignty. If the Israeli practices and policies continues undeterred, will bring about but more destabilization. It will also deepen the circles of violence amid the ongoing genocide and starvation unraveling in Gaza. What is taking place in Gaza and West Bank, destruction of infrastructure, starvation, annexation of land is not only a violation of international humanitarian laws, but it is also creating unprecedented humanitarian crises. It is also a grave threat to the regional security. And from this position, we reiterate that security and stability of any Arab or Muslim state is part and parcel of our collective security. The international organizations, bodies, and UN organs, including the permanent members, to live up to their legal and ethical responsibilities in the face of this deliberate efforts by Israel to undermine the international system in this part of the world. The current circumstances demand we move from merely the act of verbally condemning to taking action. That's why I propose the following. First, to hand down a uniform and united Arab and Islamic positions condemning the Israeli attack on Qatar, initiating the necessary legal actions which are conducive to bringing the Israeli government to account. Second, to address and stand up to any targeting of any Arab or Muslim country as a threat to the collective common security, which requires a diplomatic and political action, as well as measures to prevent recurrence. Third, to work genuinely to form a wide, comprehensive, and Islamic alliance to shoulder and take advantage and channel all what is necessary to address the economic and social problems faced our people, to form a liaison group to address the UN Security Council, the European Parliament, and other international venues in order to address the same and defend and safeguard our people's rights. Then, to lay down a comprehensive roadmap to put an end to the genocide war in Gaza, followed by a reconstruction plan aiming to finally aim at a diplomatic course which would guarantee the restoration of the lawful Palestinian rights. 6, to reinforce the mechanism of coordination and communication among our respective countries to address any threat to our security and stability, and also to reinvigorate the collective defense system. Iraq expressed condemnation of the series of military assaults undermining, targeting the security and stability of the region, and reiterate their total solidarity with the state of Qatar, the Palestinian people, and all the peoples who came under the Israeli attacks, be it Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, or Iran. Iraq, as the sitting president of the current session of the League of Arab States, that this urgent summit would be a milestone turning point in reinforcing the Arab unity, reinforcing the regional security, and taking the necessary measures to deter these assaults. This is a genuine opportunity to send a clear message that we are holding steadfast to peace and stability, and prove to the world that the security of our capital cities is not a bargain chip. The international system is coming under attack with the continued crimes committed by Israel with impunity and lack of due penalties. I give the floor to His Majesty King Abdullah II, the monarch of Jordan. In the name of Allah, the Omnipotent, the Merciful, and may God's peace be upon His sealed Prophet Muhammad. My brother, Your Royal Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Your Majesties, Your Highnesses, may God's peace be upon you all. My heartfelt, deepest condolences to my brother, Your Royal Highness Sheikh Tamim, the Emir of Qatar, and the people of Qatar, as a result of the fall of the victim to the treacherous Israeli attack on Qatar. We condemn it as it is a flagrant violation of the international law, and it is also a grave escalation that would plunge the region into more conflicts. We are standing with you with all our resources, and we support any measure aimed at deterring and preventing such belligerence from recurring, and also safeguarding the safety, security, and stability of Qatar. Your safety and security is the same as ours. Our support is total and comprehensive. Israel's assault on Doha came after more than 2 years of the beginning of their ferocious genocide war on Gaza and the starvation of innocent civilians, during which Israel has been violating not only the international law but all the human values. In the West Bank, Israel went far beyond from implementing the two-state solution, and they continue to undermine stability of Lebanon and Syria. And here, recently, they assault Qatar's sovereignty and security. The Israeli government continues with their hegemony simply for the reason that the international community has allowed them to stand above the law. We in the Arab and Muslim worlds must re-examine all the tools and dynamics of our joint action in order to stand up to the radical Israeli government. Our summit must come out with practical measures to address this grave threat, to bring the war in Gaza to an end, to prevent the forcible transfer of the Palestinian people in Gaza, and to protect and safeguard the holy sites of Jerusalem, and above all, to protect and safeguard our shared interests. The Israeli attack on Qatar is a living proof that Israel's threat is without limit. Our response must be clear, decisive, and above all, deterring. Thank you, Your Majesty, the Monarch of Jordan. Now I give the floor to His Excellency Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the President of Egypt. In the name of Allah, the Omnipotent, the Merciful, my brothers, Your Royal Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of Qatar.
चक्कर लगा के आगे करने को कुछ नहीं है, क्योंकि माशाअल्लाह सारा काम हो रहा है। और खुदा न खास्ता जितना पानी पंजाब में आया है, 3 दरियाओं में जितना सैलाब आया है, 3 महीने से बारिश हो रही है पंजाब के अंदर, और उसके बाद जब इंडिया ने पानी छोड़ दिया तो ऐसा सैलाब आया जो तारीख में कभी नहीं आया। और अगर हुकूमत प्रिपेयर्ड ना होती, हुकूमत की तैयारी ना होती, हुकूमत के अंदर दर्द दिल ना होता, लोगों को टाइमली इवैक्यूएट ना किया होता, रेस्क्यू ना किया होता,